You're listening to the Sacred Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Kara Ray, aka the Sacred Mama. I'm a mindset and relationship coach, helping mothers nurture the relationship between themselves, their spouse, and their children. This is also sometimes inside of a co-parenting relationship. This podcast was designed specifically for mothers, stepmothers, and soon-to-be mothers to come together and truly support one another, to have the real, raw, honest, unfiltered, and soulful conversations about the realities of motherhood. My goal is for mothers to reclaim their self-worth and reclaim their self-identity while navigating motherhood. It's time you treated yourself as a priority because most of all, you matter. I believe that you can have the thriving family life. I believe that you can have the booming business. And I believe that you can have the passionate and abundant relationship. Most of all, I believe you can fully love yourself in the now without sacrifice. Throughout this podcast, you'll gain access to the minds of industry leaders and of course solo episodes by yours truly. So, let's dive in. We're going live with Daria here today. So welcome to day 4 of the Reclamation of Motherhood Summit. So today I have Daria Sambi, which I had to ask her how to properly say her last name. Hello.
You picked like the group of people that had the hardest names to pronounce for this.
Yeah. And so today we're going to really be having a beautiful discussion about transitioning motherhood from working away to also working at home. And so Daria's going to share her personal experience with all this. I have some questions for you as well. So this is going to be so good. So you guys, when you hop on this, make sure you say hello. We want to interact with you guys, okay? Also, make sure you check out the freebie that Daria provided. Just saying.
Kind of crazy on this one, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
And so I always open with this one. There's one question that I ask all the guest experts. And the first question is, what does this summit mean to you?
So to me, it's a chance to not be alone in motherhood. Whenever I was pregnant and for the first 2.5 years of my daughter's life, we lived in a town 10 hours away from family. I was the only girl at my workplace. So it was really like having my first child completely isolated and alone was like such a huge shocker and awakening. And there wasn't a lot of support for us to just like be moms with like struggles and issues. So opening up this platform to just talk about this and connect with other moms that are probably going through a lot of the same stuff and just shed light on that it is a beautiful, sometimes frustrating process. It is a huge learning curve. And it's just, it was super exciting to have you ask me to be a part of this.
Well, I'm happy you're a part of this. And before we go deeper, you guys, I need to introduce her a little bit more because I literally was just like, hi guys, this is Daria.
We spent like 10 minutes just trying to get on here. We're ready to jump in.
I'm like, so for those of you that do not know Daria is a fitness coach, a competitive powerlifter, and she's a retired aircraft mechanic, which is super cool, guys. Okay. So she's also
a fellow Canadian.
Hey. Yes. So she's also a mom to a beautiful 3-year-old, and she says she's going on 13, which I feel you on that one because my toddler's got some sass. And so she's going to have, like I said earlier, the discussion around, shifting from working as an aircraft mechanic to now creating her own business and also working at home. So we're going to have these beautiful discussions, you guys. And so thank you for, answering the first question about what this means to you and the connection with moms and just bringing us together and having these conversations. And so let's dive right in. So the first question I really have for you is, I really would love for you to personally dive into your story and like your why of shifting from working for someone else to then creating a business for yourself. So I'd really love for you to share that first.
Okay. So obviously, as Kara's mentioned, I'm a retired aircraft mechanic, and that's what my profession was throughout my entire pregnancy and then throughout the first 1.5 years of Peyton's life. And the job that I had with aircraft maintenance was with my provincial government, fixing the water bombing airplanes. So during fire season, you're having to travel as the mechanic with that aircraft to whatever town they go to, whatever province they go to, whatever country they go to, because we'd go to like the States sometimes. So I've being away from home from my daughter for 8 days to 22 days at a time whenever she's in her first year of her life. Like she's just learning to walk and talk and go through all of these things. So that was like the biggest wake up call, and like the first time I've ever really experienced mom guilt, because I'm away. I'm supposed to be that one nurturing all of these processes, but instead I'm getting text messages from my fiance like, oh, she said this today. Oh, she learned how to swim today. Oh, and then like we'd try to Skype, but she was at an age where she didn't understand the video chats and stuff. So she'd just like, every time we tried to talk to her, she'd just get so like angry and frustrated that I wasn't there. So it was a full 6 months of only being home for 6 days. I think I was home 30% of the summer for her turning 2 years old summer. And that was really rough. And I think that was the initial moment where I'm like, this job I loved. Like I aced it in college. I loved what I did before I had started the family. It was exciting. It was challenging. The people I worked with were great, but I was like, I need to think of something else I can do that's not going to take me away from my family so much. And the aviation, that's what it is. You're traveling, you're gone, you're working 16 plus hours a day, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So then that's when my fiance sat down and we kind of decided to start looking at other options.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I very much relate. I used to be a paramedic. So I used to work very long days and also have to be away from my child for not only like a few hours, but days as well. And so I very much relate to not enjoying that and wanting to be present in our children's lives. And so, you know, carrying on with that whole topic, you know, what has been like the biggest shift for you from working as an aircraft mechanic to now working from home? Like what was the biggest shift for you? And the hardest shift, the hardest, like the biggest and the hardest.
The activity and the energy shift, because I'm working, like I'm on my feet, I'm physically active, like 16, sometimes 20 hours a day, like going nonstop. And I'm a competitive athlete. I'm a very active person. And I got used to having that outlet. So the hardest thing for me, and that I think my family noticed with energy shifts and how I present myself at home for the first couple months of being full-time. So I went from aircraft mechanic to full-time online coach. There was no like transition. So it was like, I didn't know what to do with my energy. So I think because I was expending so much energy with my job as a mechanic, I started putting so much energy into my job and then working behind the computer. And I think it was just really hard for me to figure out how to balance my energies, how to show up presently being home all the time versus dedicating all my energy to the new thing I was doing.
Yes, that is. And I think that's really, because we're going to dive deeper now. I have a couple other questions to you in regards to moms who are really wanting to start this transition. But I think that is one of the biggest shift is that energy shift. And also, you know, you go from spending your time with a lot of adults, right, to then spending time with little humans, which is very different. It's a very different environment. It's very different energy. So
I worked with all men, so the energy's not that different, but
I relate to that again too, because basically the field I worked in was very much masculine driven field. So I very much, and so, you know, I want to dive into the whole, like, what's this question I want to ask? I'm like, there's a way I want to word this. How has this, you know, this transition for you, the shifting from, you know, the shift for you, how has this positively impacted your life? Like, what are the positives behind this shift and this transition?
Oh gosh, everything. The freedom, like honestly, like once I got over that hump of like managing my time and showing up presently on here when I have to, and then presently with my kids, it's just been the freedom we have. Jordan wasn't working for the first couple months that we were here. So it was like, oh, we can go to Ottawa for the weekend. And it was providing me that financial stability where we're like, we have the time, we've got the money, like let's just go on vacation. Let's live our lives finally, instead of me having to work all the time and be gone all the time and stress about money or working around each other's schedules. It was just so open and freeing. And I think another part of it, I had suppressed my desire for fitness coaching for so long because like my parents were trainers and they didn't make a lot of money, like at all. So then I went and pursued the other thing I was passionate for, but it always felt like a piece of me was being held back. And now it's like I can fully step into that without guilt or fear and like just go all in with everything. And it feels incredible.
Which is great. And time management is huge. Just saying.
Still struggling with it. But
literally before we were on here, I'm pretty sure my book's still back over there. I was doing all my time management stuff. So I was like booking everything in and scheduling some time in. Like, so that is something, but it's so, so important. And so, you know, what is the first thing that you believe like a mom should do if she's transitioning from working away to then working from home? Like what, to make this the easiest and smooth transition for her, like what would you recommend for her?
Time management, taking things small instead of just thinking that you have to go completely all in, which was a mistake that I did because I left one career and then jumped right into this, like right from the beginning. But it would just, like take it slow, break down a couple things that you want to get done each day and just give your energy into that for a couple hours that day and then just completely separate yourself from it. Enjoy being with your family because that's probably the main reason why you did this transition or are going through this transition to begin with. So just create that opportunity to separate yourself from it and enjoy the freedom that you wanted this for. Because that was a huge mistake I made for pretty much the whole summer is like, if I want to do this, I have to dedicate myself to this. And then I wasn't taking advantage of the freedoms that I had opened up as much as I wanted to.
Yes. So I love that you actually brought that up because I want to talk about that because that was a huge argument that actually came up with me and my husband was, you know, the whole reason why I had shifted from working away to working at home. He said, you know, you might as well just go work from home if you're not going to be present here anyways. Yeah. And which was difficult for me to hear, but I didn't realize that I was putting so much time because I thought I had to at first. I thought that was the thing. I thought that you had to be all in and basically like the thing that's going in my head is like go ham on everything. Yeah. And it was not serving at all. Like until I actually started learning time management and learning how to block things in and making things a priority. Like I think that's a conversation we should dive into as well is like prioritize what actually matters to you. Yeah. And I think that shifts obviously for everybody, but in regards to, you know, prioritization, like how were you able to balance the business and also the beautiful baby that you got?
So for the first couple months when Jordan was home, it was really easy because I was able to come into my office. I'd set a timer, like I'm going to do an hour of work, whatever that was, graphic design, batch creating content, going live, whatever that was. I'd set that timer and she was with someone who loved her. She was cared for. But then whenever he went to work full time in October, it was like, everything seemed to take me so much longer and I wasn't devoting energy to my business or to her. Yep. So even though I was working from home, I had to make the decision to put out the money and put her in daycare part-time, just 4 hours a day until she's in school this fall. So then I can spend that time and I can do my stuff here. But then whenever she's home, like I know things are taken care of and I can give her that energy instead of being pulled in so many directions at the same time. And I only just did that in January and my mood has been better. How I react to her outbursts has been so much better because it doesn't feel like she's taking me away or like I'm being taken away from her.
And that's actually a discussion that my husband and I just had where I told him that we're getting to a point and my business is getting to a point where I do actually need to take that time and that, yes, I'm able to do a lot of the things in the evening when he comes home, but during the day, things are starting to look a little bit different. And having the kids here, like I want to be able to be present with them, but I'm trying to micromanage a few other things. And so we've had this discussion where I said, you know, I really hope you have my back on this. And this is something I really need to do. And thank goodness we actually have a lady that's like 2 doors down that runs like a daycare, which is absolutely incredible. But it's almost difficult for me as well because I didn't want my children originally to be in childcare. Like that wasn't something that I wanted them to do. And I was like really struggling, especially because like my youngest is 6 months old. Like he's super little and he's not at the stage where he can really be that far. Like I feel like that's maybe me that doesn't want to be that far. But I know that even if I did it for one day during the week, it would drastically shift things, like, and help majorly. And so, yes, the whole time management piece and prioritization is huge. And I also, you know, I want to bring up the fact that when you're transitioning from working away we're even working a 9 to 5 to then working from home, like, nurture the heck out of your relationship that you have.
Yes.
Because that's also a transition for your spouse.
Yeah.
They're so used to having even like, you know, because when I first started, I didn't have consistent income. Like, at first, they were very much used to me having a consistent income.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen at first. And so there was conversations that had to happen. And so my biggest thing is nurture the relationships that are there and communicate.
Absolutely. I've always been like the sole income in the house.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was definitely a big shift for us. But Jordan's been incredible. He's like, you do whatever you want to do. He's like, you're gonna make the money. I'm like, okay. It's been, just like not having the alone time or whenever we have it. He's like, I'm home from work. And I'm like, well, I have a group coaching call now and take advantage of the time that we do have.
Well, and also, like, one of the things from working from home to like creating my own business was my husband also didn't fully understand what I was doing. So there was also some confusion there. So we actually got into a few arguments sometimes because he was getting frustrated at the way things were moving or not moving. And I just had to explain to him, like, just trust. Like, I need you to trust me right now because this is what I'm doing. And you don't need to understand this. You don't need to. Just how I don't understand that you do crop insurance. Like, I don't understand why the heck you do that. I'm like, but, and then when I said it that way, he's like, wow, that actually makes sense. Like, you really don't get what I do. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't actually want to understand.
Nor do I want to. Yeah.
And so, but those are important conversations to have because sometimes your spouse doesn't understand and sometimes the frustrations come in there because of like miscommunication and different things. But, you know, my dog decided to open the baby gate upstairs and so now she's down here. So if she barks, my apologies, guys. My dog legit can open a baby gate.
My husky, we can zip tie her
hello
and she'll find a way out. She's
yes I'm like, cat police here, but yes, she's right here and she's like, hello, I did it. I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to be upstairs.
So proud. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask, like, in regards to making these transitions and, you know, seeing other moms in like doing this as well, like, what are some of the biggest mistakes or some of the biggest, you know, roadblocks you've seen that have come up for moms while they're making these transitions?
I think it would have to just be, especially if you were working like a very busy job, whether you're traveling away or like you said, like you're working shift work or just like I know some people who I've talked to who are working like 80 hours a week and then they come to working from home and they don't know what to do with their energy. And I feel like that pent up energy, if you don't have a way to expel it or use it, especially if you're using it like purposefully, it can kind of manifest itself in other things. Like whenever I have too much energy, I end up kind of like getting on edge. I get kind of like reactive to things because I feel like uncomfortable in my body. So I think finding an outlet, finding a hobby, finding something you can just like get out and do so that this doesn't become everything is going to really, really help, especially in that first, I'd say like 6 months to a year, so that you can finally get settled into what it is you're doing and how often you have to show up. And another thing that I ran into is trying to like take everything on at once.
Yeah.
And then once I started like even outsourcing tiny little things that didn't cost a lot of money, it suddenly like opened up 8 hours a day to what I was actually do.
Yes. I actually just started outsourcing a few things. Let me tell you, it was like magical. The best. Like one of these things where you look at yourself and you're like, why did I not do this before? Like, why did I think that me doing this and hitting my head against the wall basically was going to be productive? Yeah. Like, and so, because even like there's things for the creation of this summit that I had to outsource because my time needed to be allocated in different spaces. And like learning where your energy should be and where you want to be is so important. and it's okay. Like, you don't have to do this alone. And I think that's a big thing, like through the summit as well, is that this is all about not doing things alone. This is about collectively coming together and ensuring that everybody rises, because you don't have to do it alone, and it doesn't have to happen like this. And I think that's also and it can also happen like this, but it doesn't necessarily.
But then you're like, what just happened?
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm not saying it doesn't, because it does, but you're also allowed to gradually, like you were saying, like move into everything and allow yourself to shift and transition. And I think it's just important. I know everybody's different, and so everybody kind of can operate a little bit differently when it comes to that. But I think that really leads into, you know, the next question that I have for you, which really is about, you know, because I know that there are moms inside of this space who want to make the transition and who are scared to make the transition. And so what would you say to them? What would you say to them? I'm just going to leave it at that. What would you say to them?
So if you are scared for legitimate reasons, like if you're the sole income from your house and you're wanting to like give that away, you don't have to go all in immediately. You can take your time. You can start it off part-time. You can start just promoting yourself or talking about what it is you want to get into, see the reaction, and then start slowly going in and seeing how it feels instead of jumping into the deep end like I did. And it was a complete shit show for a good couple months mentally. I probably had a panic attack every other day because I was so dependent on this being successful. And we all want our business to be successful. Like, that's why we're doing it. But if you're able to take that dependency away and just have fun with it and do it because you love it, then one, you're going to become successful a lot faster because you're able to show up as completely yourself, as someone who's comfortable and confident and doesn't need to force anything to happen. So if you can find a way, like if you're absolutely miserable in your job, which I know some people in like the mastermind that I'm in are just like, I can't do this anymore. But if you can, even just for like a couple months or cut down to part-time or something, just I'm all about baby steps in how I coach like my fitness clients and my health clients. Is just small, manageable steps. So it doesn't seem daunting. So start posting, like make your public profile or your profile on Facebook public. Start making posts talking about it and just start doing something. I guess you don't need to do everything at once, but just start doing something that you are comfortable with, but it may be bringing you outside of your comfort zone a little bit more.
Well, I was going to say, start being yourself. Like that, like, you know, when you step into entrepreneurship, or if you start like taking less hours at the career that you've chosen, I believe as a mom through entrepreneurship, it has actually really shined a light on a lot of the stuff that I did not want to deal with before. And because you're working for, like, you're creating something for yourself. So all the fears, all the blocks, and the things that you've suppressed for so long start coming to the surface. And it starts being something that you do need to acknowledge. And don't be fearful of it. Like, I think entrepreneurship is such a liberating experience because it literally breaks free from what we call societal norms or societal restraints, and really of what society has made us believe. Because there is this big thing with moms is how we're supposed to be able to do all, be all, and that's just crap. Okay. Not that we're not capable of doing a lot of beautiful and incredible things all at once, because we are. Let's just be honest, we are. But that's not the way to constantly be operating at all. And I don't think that's even for anyone. Even if you're a mom or you're not a mom, I don't think you should ever be constantly doing something. And so, you know, the biggest thing, like I said, was just like this realization as a mom, like when I created my business, is that the time freedom that I was able to actually create. And I want to talk to you about that too, is like the time freedom. Like, did you ever have that moment where, for example, you get off like a client call and then you can see your child and you're just like, oh my God, like this is my life right now. Like this is my life. And I have goosebumps saying this because I literally had a beautiful client call last week. And then it was like this immense amount of gratitude that you don't stop and you build something for yourself and you have this sense of pride, and nobody else, like you have no one who's calling on you besides you. You have no one who's like, you're the one who has to show up for you. You're the one who has to show up and do the thing for you. And that's beautiful, because then you get to spend the time with your kids after, you know. And so what has been, you know, what is the biggest, like, I want to say like pivotal, but I don't know if that's the right word, but what has been like the greatest moment you've had since, you know, transitioning and like becoming an entrepreneur and like working for yourself as a mom?
I think I've had honestly so many, but the thing that I'm always the most grateful for and the opportunities that I've got is, like, I love meeting new women, of course, but seeing the people from my past that I had maybe disconnected from or hadn't seen in so long come back and reconnect with me through what I'm doing. I couldn't tell you how many of the clients I've had since I started this last January have been from my past, like people I haven't seen in 15 plus years, people I haven't talked to since high school are coming in and being like, you've been inspiring me this entire time, and we've been waiting for you, like waiting for this opportunity for us to be together in this container again. And it's like, it's rekindled so much friendship, and I guess just solidified the fact that maybe I shouldn't have put off doing this for so long, because it just goes to verify that, like, whenever you do something that you're supposed to do, everyone else has been watching you and waiting for you to do this. So I think if that was like the biggest confirmation of success, or that I'm supposed to be on this journey, I think for some reason it's that, like, reconnecting with people that I had like forgotten about or drifted away from, that have been like messaging me and rooting for me and paying to work with me, where I'm like, oh damn, like really?
I think that's beautiful. You know, through this whole transition, through even just simply becoming a mom, a lot of relationships in my life have shifted in beautiful ways. You know, there's the whole, like, people are in your life for a season, reason, or like a lifetime. And that really reigns true. But, you know, my best friend has never once said anything about what I'm doing. Doesn't mean I don't love her. And I do. But it's that understanding that what you're doing is not for anybody else. What you're doing is for you. And if you're doing it because you're waiting for everybody else to give you the validation, like, it might not and you don't need it. And it could also maybe never come.
The scariest thing I ever did was like the first ever Facebook Live that I did announcing my business. Because I work with all men, and they're all like drunk old mechanics. And I'm like going live on my Facebook where I have them all. And then I go to work and they're all like talking and asking questions. I'm like, I don't want to make eye contact with you. Like, you guys, I'm just going to take you guys off my Facebook, because like, I don't want to deal with this.
I remember the first time I went, well, because like, so now I'm doing like a 365 challenge. And I tried once before and then failed, which was bad. Hey, this happens, but I'm doing it again. And that was the scariest moment, going live for the first time. I remember I was like red from like here all the way up. I was sweating, like my face was like burning. Like, I'm talking to a damn screen. Like, I can't even see these people. And I'm like literally shitting bricks. I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? But now I get messages from other moms and other women now who are like, how do you go on live with so much confidence? Because I started and because I did it really effing messy.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to see those memories pop up on my timeline. That's for sure.
I have some that are popping up from last year. And I'm like, oh Lordy. I'm like, oh Lord. I was like, at least I did it though. Like, I look back and there's a lot of like, there's like this sense of like pride for just doing the thing. And, you know, I very much like, as a mom, like when you transition and you know, if you become an entrepreneur, or even you stay at home, people want to see you and like your life and the shit that you do. And they want to connect with you on that front. And so I share my family, like I share our experiences. I'm very real, very open with what has happened in my life. And I think that's also like, social media isn't just about the highlights. And social media currently, unfortunately, is very much based on highlight reels. Yeah. And so be real with who you are. Like, this is so important, because as a mom, this is like the biggest journey of a freaking lifetime. Like, it is messy. It is beautiful. It is raw. It like cuts you right open, like right through the middle, where someone's like, hey, did you get this coming? No.
Keep it coming.
Like, it is such a beautiful adventure. So it's just like, embrace the heck out of it. And, you know, what would you say and you know, I know we were talking about this, but like, what would you say to the mom who's just like right there, and she wants to do it? Like, what is that one thing? Like, I know you were saying a little bit before, but like, what is that other one thing you would?
What's the worst thing that can happen? Like, honestly, we let fear dictate and lead by our ego. And like, honestly, the worst thing that's going to happen is we set expectations so high for ourselves that we damage the expectation. But that's the worst thing that's going to happen is you go live and you stutter. Like, oh no, that is not the end of the world. You'll survive. So like, honestly, if you can come up with one good reason why you shouldn't start, that is good enough and strong enough over why you should start, I don't think you're going to be able to do it. There's a reason you're on that edge to begin with, is because you keep talking yourself a little bit closer. You just need to stop backpedaling and just go over that edge. You're going to be fine. There's a nice big cushy pillow at the bottom.
Yes.
It's okay. Nothing is going to happen if you fall, and you're going to fall more times than you can count. You're going to fail. You're going to flop. You're going to cry on live. You're like, your kid's going to run around naked on the camera behind you. Like, it's
legit almost yesterday that happened.
Yeah. Like, that stuff happens, and that's what you learn from. That's what you grow from. That's what makes you better. If you're expecting to like be perfect and just like start and like ace it at the beginning, that's not how anything in life works. You don't become a football player the first time you step on the football field and you can like score 100 points. Like, you have to practice. You're going to fall in some mud. So just do it.
Well, just do it, guys. Just do it. So I know that. So hi, Gina. Hi, Sam. Hi, Deanna. Hi, Brittany. Hello, ladies. How are you? I just want to catch up on a couple of these things. Because now comments are showing up on my phone.
I know. I have my phone here. Like, I can kind of keep up with them a bit.
Okay. So Deanna said she felt like she was pulled in too many directions.
Amen.
And so feel ya. Yeah. But when it comes to like, even what Daria just said though, in regards to like, what you want to do, where that focus is that you want to do, like where you want to go. And so it's zoning in on that, like one thing, on the one thing that you want to do. It's like you just said, like how you basically make a list of like, what am I supposed to do? And then what is that first thing you do? And then you go through that and just focus on one at a time. Like, it doesn't have to be all or nothing right at the beginning. Like, slowly transition. And then Sam, I'm in the same. When I don't get rid of extra energy, do what you're good at. And if you can outsource things you're not good at, then do it. Yes. Like, sales pages are not my forte.
Sales pages, email sequences.
Sam, just start with small steps. Yes. And then Brittany said hi. And then Deanna, that's my life motto. What's the worst thing that can happen? And can I live with that? Yeah.
And that's a big thing too with entrepreneurship, is like, stay true to your beliefs and your structures. Like, don't fall into like any sales tactics that don't feel good. Don't ever change who you are. Don't ever change your message because you think that's what's selling. Like Kara said, people want to see you for you. They want to see your life. They want to see the mess. That's what your people are going to resonate with. So never do anything that feels icky. Never do anything that just doesn't feel right to you in your core.
Yeah. And I think this reigns like very true with those who also work like in a career 9 to 5, whether you work like shift work. Be yourself, please. Please be yourself. Yeah. You know, a big reason as to why I shifted and wanted to work from home is because I was sick of being belittled by other people. I was sick of having to conform to somebody else's standards. And that's why I chose that was not my lifestyle anymore. I was demoted for standing up for myself, and that was the last straw. So nobody should ever make you feel small for standing up for what you believe in, because I definitely know that I do not want to teach my children that I will take anybody else's crap. Yeah. And I also want to teach them that they don't deserve anybody else's crap. And to learn how to stand up for themselves. Like, that's so, I have something stuck in my eye. The whole time I've been sitting here trying to look, and I'm like, I can't avoid it now. I'm like, what is that?
One here with like a chunk of blue slime, because we made slime earlier, stuck in my eyelashes.
I was like going on a riff there, and I'm like, I can't hold it in anymore. I was like, something's stuck in my eye. Real life videos, guys. Anyways. So before we just start to wrap everything up, like, is there anything else that you would really feel pulled to say to any moms who are just really struggling right now with transitioning or wanting to?
The biggest thing I realized that I don't think I was expecting, because I'm a competitive athlete, I was in such an active job, I wasn't expecting how harsh the physical fatigue can be from this job whenever you're not taking care of yourself, whenever you're not making time for your family. That's a different thing, but making time for you, because you think like you're sitting in this room by yourself, like I'm by myself, like what can be so fatiguing about that? But it is emotionally and physically so draining in a level that me as a competitive powerlifter am still getting used to. So be prepared for that, especially when you're first making that transition, especially if you go all in. It's exhausting, and you need to make sure to take care of yourself during this time. It's hard as a mom. It's hard when you're working a 9 to 5. It's even harder when you're with your family and your business all the time, to try and separate yourself from everything and just take care of yourself, just recharge yourself, take a step back from whatever you need to, because we're doing what we love. I put all of my emotion into my clients. I put all of my love into the programs that I build. And even though I love it, I'm pouring my heart out, and you need to be able to bring that back to yourself in some way.
And you are your most important work.
Yeah.
Because without you, the work doesn't come out.
Yeah.
The things that you want don't come out.
No.
Like, and it really comes back
tired and grumpy on like group coaching calls or client calls or live video. You want to show up present and excited.
And I think too, as moms, we're really we're having that conversation and breaking, that whole stigma around taking care of ourselves first. Yeah. And really, in order for us to, as entrepreneurs, to really serve our clients and to serve the women that we work with and even be present inside of our communities and things like that, we need to ensure that our energy is also, up there. And because we're also taking on other energies, we're also giving out, and we're really, it's that whole serving energy. We're being present. And so we have to learn how to fill that. And prior to me being an entrepreneur, I did not give a crap really about myself. Like the habits that I had, the things that I did, like if you asked me 4 years ago who that woman was, I want to hug her. I want to tell her that it's all going to be okay, and that it's not going to be the same. But that takes you making a choice that you want more for your life. It takes you making the choice that you deserve to come first, and that it's okay. You can do the thing. You don't need other people to tell you that you can do the thing. The only person you need is you.
Yeah.
Is you.
That big aviation background, right? And it's like, if you've ever been on a plane, you have to don your mask first before you put it on your children. You need to keep yourself alive before you worry about everything else that's going on. And there's that reason for a reason. It is completely true.
Okay. So I think this is a beautiful way to wrap it all up. I see Brittany in here. She was saying, I've got you girls, sales pages and emails, magnetic marketing. Yeah. First and foremost, she said, we are the foundation. So proud of you. Yes, we are the foundation. We are the base that holds it all together. I have this, I was talking about this before, is how I see as a mom, we are a tree. We're like the base of a tree, and we hold everything up, and we wear all these hats, which represent like the leaves. And really we can hold all those things steady. And when storms come through, things go away, things come back, things regrow. And so I think it's a beautiful analogy to think of yourself as something that is so grounding, but also deserves nurturement. Because
Have you ever read The Giving Tree? I have that
book over here. I do.
Really?
It is like my
in the bedroom. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's from Shel Silverstein. Yes. Yeah. So if y'all haven't read that.
It's
literally, it is right there. I'm like, I can't see. I have a bookshelf over in this corner. I'm like, it's over right in there. Yep. And so obsessed with Shel Silverstein as a child. And my mom would buy all of the books for me. And that was one that she bought. And so it's one that stays and one I read to my kids.
It's such a mom book.
I'm like,
mom book.
And I love that we talked about this. I'm like, I feel like we connected in another level. I'm like, yes, you love this?
Yes. It's made the travels with, I think I've switched like 6 houses or something since I was gifted that book.
Yeah.
And made it front and center in my bedroom because it's such a good reminder that we give a lot of ourselves.
Yes, we
to
do.
people that we care about.
And we need to take care of that. And so, can you hear my dog?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's here. I bet. So my husband's probably getting home and she opened the gate. So now everybody's going to hear her as we say goodbye. And so I'm going to wrap all of this up before you hear my dog legit lose her mind. And so thank you so much, Daria, for being here, for having this beautiful conversation, for taking the time to pour into the women that are inside of this space. And before you go, can you please let the moms know how to connect with you further? Let them know, and then go back and post it in the comments.
Okay. First off, thank you so much for hosting this. I think this is like such an important thing with your Facebook group and with this reclamation in general. I love it. You can find me on Facebook at Daria Samby. It's tagged up there. I have a Facebook group called the Sexy, Strong, and Super Community, which is all about health, fitness, women's empowerment, just owning our strength and power. And you can find me on Instagram at Daria Muscle Mom. I am working on TikTok. It's coming along, guys, but it's not quite there yet.
Oh, TikTok.
So I'll link where I am at the moment. But I'm really active on all 3, like my Facebook profile, my group, and my Instagram.
Do you hear my toddler? Mama! She just got home too.
I thought I heard little footsteps coming to my door now, so I think it's a great time.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you all for being here who joined us live. Thank you to everybody who catches the replay. And thank you again, Daria. Thank you.
Have a great night. Have fun with your dog.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.